You do this in every single interview. You say stuff and then you deny it. You deny your own words. So, why don't you just own what you say and stand by it and stop playing these games?
Stop playing these games. That was Sean Hannity on Fox demolishing Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. By many accounts, this was the most contentious political interview so far this year, and it repeatedly went off the rails.
And go deep into issues
all you want.
rather than this kind of,
I've got along great
political
with
gotcha.
The point is this.
Good.
You go on these interviews. Yeah, I have nothing but nice things to say. But
Hannity quoted from a Ramaswamy appearance on Tucker Carlson when Ramaswamy seemed to diminish the war between Hamas and Israel and argued that Niki Haley's defense of Israel is driven by financial corruption.
Someone like a Niki Haley who is going to profit from World War III, I think you're disqualified from being the president of the United States.
I want an exact explanation for your exact comments that there are, frankly, financial and corrupting influences that lead them exactly to speak the way that they do. Now, why would you say, what are the financial corrupting influences that Niki Haley is taking a position on? We've got pictures of dead babies decapitated, burned babies' bodies.
Sean,
we've got the equivalent of what would be population-wise in the U.S. over 37,000 dead Americans. So how much more evidence do you? What are you talking about?
Sean, what I'm talking about is what's happening in Israel is an atrocity, and the U.S. absolutely,
you're not answering my question,
should stand with Israel.
Answer the question.
A separate question, which is the corrupting influence on our politicians. Well, the fact of the matter is, I think anybody who has been a military contractor, anybody who has made $8 million, including on serving on the board of Boeing, collecting stock options while running for U.S. president on corporate boards, has made money from military contracting through a family business, is disqualified from being the U.S. president in a time of war.
To be clear, Haley has profited from military contractors, including Boeing. According to financial disclosure forms, she currently owns up to $250,000 in company stock. However, Haley resigned from Boeing's board of directors 3 years ago.
You are saying that there are, frankly, financial and corrupting influences that lead them exactly to speak the way that they do. Now, if you're saying with those exact words of yours, you're not denying them again, are you? Those are your exact words. If that's what you're saying, my question is simple to you. You're saying that if somebody works for a defense contractor, that is a financial corrupting position when national security and defense is critical to the cause of freedom and has been throughout human history? And why would you accuse Niki Haley of being corrupt?
I don't believe that somebody should be able to be the next commander-in-chief if they have monetized their time in government, going from being in debt to making $8 million through military contracting businesses, through service on the board of Boeing. Frankly, it is shameful for somebody to be collecting stock options from corporate boards while they're running for U.S. president.
Hannity said he disagreed, and then Ramaswamy doubled down, eventually prompting Hannity to belittle Ramaswamy in epic fashion. Watch.
My view is, if you're making money off your time in government, then I don't think you're fit to be president of the United States. Well, more importantly, though, what's our policy? Stand with our allies while avoiding World War III, and that's where I'm at.
A lot of people don't think you're qualified because you weren't even a Republican or voting Republican until what, 2020?
Well, Sean, I think that it depends on what your objectives with this interview are.
Vivek, I think Sean Hannity made his objectives clear to expose you and reveal your two-faced campaign approach. And Hannity succeeded.
Here's your problem.
People should
you
watch
go on these shows, people quote your exact words, and you deny your own words. And I'm saying if you're going to be a presidential candidate, and you're going to, and I'm going to give you your exact words, either own it,
Sean, you have been sitting here for years talking about the fake news media.
Did you play this all the time?
Sean, I'm enjoying this. You have been laughing about the fake news media how many times for the last several years, and now you're buying the mainstream media narrative when you know how corrupt it is.
I am following you. I am quoting your exact words.
Hannity also spoke to Niki Haley and asked her about Ramaswamy's claims.
What's your response to him?
I mean, Sean, I quit responding to him. I don't trust him. I don't think that he has any credibility. He throws these things. He blames and says everybody's bought and paid for with no evidence whatsoever. It's why I think he's sinking in the polls. And, you know, quite honestly, his comments on Israel disqualified him for me a long time ago. And so, you know, it doesn't bother me what he says.
And one of the reasons it may not bother Haley is because Ramaswamy's campaign seems to be imploding. And some of his supporters and donors appear to now be drifting over to Nikki Haley's campaign. And when you combine that with the growing effort in the Republican Party to find one alternative to Donald Trump, Haley is on the rise. The former South Carolina governor and UN ambassador is also benefiting from the campaign problems facing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who many Republicans previously considered the top Donald Trump alternative. In any case, I don't say this very often, but kudos to Sean Hannity for holding Vivek Ramaswamy accountable to Ramaswamy's own words. Whether America is facing domestic challenges like immigration and fentanyl, or a war in the Middle East, it's important for presidential candidates to speak honestly and directly. The once surging Vivek Ramaswamy doesn't seem capable of either. And so, Ramaswamy is paying a heavy price, even from a show host on Fox. By the way, indicted House Republican George Santos is now threatening to get revenge on GOP colleagues by spilling their secrets. As the Raw Story headline says, George Santos threatens to ruin Republicans who vote to expel him from Congress.
Why should you be able to...
Santos has refused to resign, and following a second round of criminal charges against him, a handful of Republicans have introduced a resolution to force Santos out. Check out that video at the link below. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.